So I know it's a Grand Am and it's not super exciting to work on. I was trying to find a way to make it a little more interesting. Like a lot of other people, I've said I've worked on so many of these, I could do it with my eyes closed. So let's try taking this apart with our eyes closed. And because I have all the haters out there, they're gonna tell me I was cheating, we're gonna do it blindfold. Now, I've already laid out the tools because I'm new to this whole blindness thing. The ones that at least I can recall from memory that I'll need. And I put it up on a jack stand. Because when you're doing dumb things, it's always best to do them as safely as possible. So, don't try this at home. Or try it at home. It's all the same to me. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this video in its entirety. I won't edit anything out. So, you know I didn't cheat. And that's what I can see. It's gonna be a little harder than I thought. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is pull the sill plate off so we can access the wiring harness for the door. We'll unplug it. Push the boot inside and then pull it out. Now we gotta turn the end of the wiring harness to get it through the hole in the A-pillar. Alright, the wires are out. Now we're going to unbolt the door check. Now we can get to the hinges. Make sure our wiring harness is out of the way. We don't get snagged on anything. Door's off. I'm trying to set the door down without damaging the car or the door. It's not so easy when you can't see. I'll pull the fender off. We'll start with the bolts on the bottom. We don't have to take them all the way out because the fender's slotted, so we can just loosen them up. Pull off the molding, what was left of it. Take the bolt off at the top, between the fender and the door. Now unbolt the bumper. There's 3 bolts in there. Take the bolts off the top of the fender. The first 2 anyway. The last 2 are underneath the hood hinge. And I'm going to procrastinate as long as I can because I don't want to take that hood hinge off. Taking the hood hinge off isn't hard, but they do have a tendency to fall, and if I can see, it's not a problem. The only way I'll know it's falling is when it comes crashing down.
And I don't need to break a windshield or damage the other fender or the hood hinge on the other side. So now I'm double and triple checking everything else to make sure it's off. Take the fender liner off and the felt part. The bracket up in the front was torn off the fender, so I didn't actually have to unbolt it. Alright, screwed around long enough, time to take the hood hinge off. From the factory, they're actually riveted onto the fender, so you'll hear it pop off after I get the bolts out. Just give it a good yank. I slide our fender off. I'm going to put those hood hinge bolts back in temporarily, so I don't have to worry about it falling. Alright, now we're out of the woods. Coincidentally, I didn't lose any tools. Apparently, when you lose your sight, you start to remember where you put everything. So if you lose a lot of tools, try blindfolding yourself. And the fender's off. And take the blindfold off. Apparently I was shocked.
Okay, that wasn't too bad. 6 minutes, 30 seconds to take this thing apart. And I know I had all the tools set up ahead of time, but come on guys, cut me some slack. I've only been blind for 7 minutes now. Let's up the stakes a little bit. I got my door there that I got used, in the right color. See if I can put it back on. Truth be told, I actually had my eyes closed the whole time, even though I can't see.
Find our door. Now we gotta find the car. And now we're gonna make the door find the car. Gotta line up both hinges at just the right angle, and then take a little tension off the back of the door, not so much that you pull it out of the hinges, but enough that it'll drop down in there. There we go. Now I'll put the bolts back in the hinges. I really wasn't sure if it fell in. That was actually pretty easy. They don't always go in that easy. I don't know why I picked the door check bolt to put in. Put the bolt in the top hinge. Now that I know they're all in there, I'm home free. I'm going to let go of the door, tighten them up, and the door's in. Can't put the wiring harness in just yet. I got to change it.
Okay, so, well, at least I know if I ever lose my sight because of my bad habit of not wearing safety glasses, I still have a job putting Grand Ams together and taking them apart. So now it's time to join the sighted world again. Turn our Grand Am SE into a Grand Am GT.
Take a razor blade and cut the two-sided tape. Slide it along. That's actually a windshield knife, but it works good for this. Now you can pry the molding out a little bit and it makes it real easy to cut. And just lean on it and tear the rest of it off. And use our magic eraser. Take off the rest of the two-sided tape.
So some of you youngsters might not even know what this is, but once upon a time, windows didn't go down with the flip of a switch. You actually had to crank them up and down. So this is one of the very rare Grand Ams that actually came with manual windows. And if you've never seen them, or maybe you've lost some fights with the clips that are in there because you didn't know, there's a very inexpensive tool. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to purchase one. If you ever plan on doing these, it makes this job very easy. All you do is slide it in. Usually the way the lever is pointing, unless somebody put the clip in backwards. So if the clip's in backwards, you'll have to go in from this side. Oh, there's a little piece of plastic on there. You gotta make sure it's on the other side. Slide it in. It pops off. All you're doing is disengaging this little clip in here. So when you push this in, that's it. So now you know. I could throw that away in the garbage where it belongs.
Take the door panel off. There's a hidden screw in there. Take the bezel off. There's another screw under the door handle. And there's one more screw inside the switches.
Ooh, I'm glad it's winter time. Some wasps in there. Well, they were. I think they moved out.
Just pull the panel off.
Yeah, that could have been bad.
Pull the window sweep out.
These water barriers are very important on Grand Ams, so I always try to leave the bottom on. Without it, you get water in your car.
Pull our regulator out. The window channel in the rear. Now we can get to the door handle and lock. I'm going to change the whole thing because I got to change the door lock.
I think I was better at finding stuff when I was blind.
I'll pop the wiring harness off and change that. Missing a few wires since it didn't have power windows. New wiring harness in. Put our door handle in from the original car with the right lock in it. Rear window channel in. Put our regulator back in. Bolt it all in. Put our water barrier back up. I'm going to take all the window trim off. Pull the weather stripping out. There's 2 bolts in here, screws. One right there. Now just pull everything off. Have to change it. The GT's, that's all black. There's no chrome. So now we got our GT moldings. Line up the holes on the front and push it in. Put our screws back in. Slides onto the front molding in the front and then just snaps down. Clip in all the clips. Put the weather stripping back in. Put our mirror back on. And we'll put our glass in. Bolt the regulator to the glass. Now I can put the water barrier all the way up. Our door panel on. I put the window sweep in there. And bolt it all in. Plug in our switches. I'll put the fender back on. I ended up painting the fender. My used fender had some scratches on it. So, since we were painting the bumper anyway, painted the fender. I'm going to bolt the fender in. We're going to change the bumper. Take off everybody's favorite plastic wheel liners. And bolt the bumper from the fender. Push pins out at the top. And pop the bumper off. Put our new one on. Bolt the bumper back up to the fender. On both sides. Yay, wheel liners. These are 2 pieces, so you can have twice as much fun. Bolt it back up to the bumper. Couple more push pins. Christmas trees, whatever you want to call them. We're going to put our molding back on our door, our GT molding. Little wax and grease remover. Clean it up. Then we'll tack it off, get the dust out of there. Then we'll put the molding up. It was cold here, so the heat lamp is behind me. It was on the car. Get it nice and warm, help these stick. The hood in the background is to one of my future projects. So if you can figure out what it's for, you can know what my future projects are. Now we're going to put our nameplates on. Measuring system in there. Measured it off the other side. Now we can remove the measuring system. There you go, from top to bottom. No, I didn't forget the emblem in the bumper. I don't like them, so I don't put them back. I think it looks pretty good with just the opening in there. I did a little extra work to it. Put a thermostat in it. It wasn't getting warm enough. Eventually it would have set the check engine light off. I fixed the rear bumper, had those scrapes on it from the auction. Oil change, of course, and the spark plug wires. Somebody had been there before and routed them on top instead of routing them through the clamps that they're made for. They zip tied them. So as you can see here, I fixed them. I put the clamps back on, rerouted the wires, put a couple tires on it. The brakes were all in good shape. So this car was better than it was before the accident. So like the video if you found it interesting. Share it if you think somebody else might. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.